Well, pardon the backdrop, but I'm on the road. I'm in Phoenix for work here at the DraftKings Sportsbook in Scottsdale, and I had to get this thing out because the news has broken. Bill Belichick to North Carolina. There's so many ripple effects on this deal. Hey, before we go any further, though, remember to subscribe to the channel. Click on this button below me. That way you'll get notifications when we go live on Sunday nights, and new DA deep dives like this one are uploaded. Number one, it must mean that Bill Belichick was going to be passed over again in the NFL coaching cycle. I mean, why else would he take a job in college this close to the all-time wins record held by Don Shula? We all know he's been hunting that for years. And now, before the NFL cycle opens up, he takes a job in college. So that record's going to be null and void for him. He is not going to get there now. And he doesn't even wait for the full complement of openings to become available. That must mean he got tons of feedback from his agent, perhaps headhunters, searching councils, etc., that he was not going to be considered this offseason again. And frankly, I think that's kind of disappointing. I mean, a guy that has 6 Super Bowl championships as a head coach, more than any other coach ever, 2 more as an elite defensive coordinator, is not going to get a sniff with another round of openings for year number 2 in the NFL. Let's face it, it's a little bit disconcerting, is it not? I mean, even if you don't like Bill Belichick's demeanor, his curmudgeonliness, the guy that's always sniffing and coughing and sneering at the media and never really kind of gave you anything of personality or openness when he was coaching, the fact that complete unknowns, first-time head coaches, are definitely going to get jobs this cycle. For the second time, no GM is willing to go down that road, no owner willing to go down that road. Man, talk about a humbling experience for Bill Belichick. Because that means this record is now done. Bill Belichick's in his early 70s. Let's say at minimum he's at UNC for 2 years. And perhaps at that point he wins big. He wins an ACC. Perhaps he goes to a college football playoff. Maybe he wins a game or 2 in the college football playoff. And then perhaps an owner or a GM says, well, maybe this guy hasn't lost it. We want him. You're now so far down the road in age, you are not going to catch Don Shula's record. So Shula's record is safe for now. Unless Andy Reid plans on coaching another number of years, for the moment, Don Shula's record looks pretty untouchable. From a UNC standpoint, this is huge because this is going to bring in an influx immediately of NIL money. That much is obvious. You've got a fan base that has been an also-ran in the ACC for a long time in football. I mean, this is a conference dominated by Florida State and Clemson. Now there's some new power brokers. SMU happened to be one of the best teams of the conference, but North Carolina has not traditionally been that type of program, that type of school. And there's a lot of cash, a lot of money hanging around Chapel Hill. There's a lot of deep-pocketed donors, alumni that have put that money towards basketball, some towards football, but never really been activated in football. That's why they brought Mac Brown back, the vestiges of the good old days of UNC football. Well, this does it. This absolutely energizes and mobilizes your alumni and your fan base and your local businesses that will pony up for NIL money. So in that way, North Carolina has a boom coming when it comes to an influx of cash. I would imagine there is also a handful of players whose parents really want him, their player, to be coached by Bill Belichick. Because the dads now, the moms now of college athletes would be the ones that really remember Bill's brilliance. Yeah, I think Belichick carries a certain weight no matter what age you are. But let's face it, if you are 45 years old and you have an 18-year-old son, you are definitely in the target demographic of Belichick being the GOAT. If you're 18 years old, I'm not sure that Belichick the hoodie really connects with you as much, but I think the promise of playing in the league, the promise of Bill's NFL bona fides, the promise of Bill's connections in that league with personnel directors, GMs, knowing what it takes to play at the next level, that's going to be the attraction. And he even admitted as much the other day on the Pat McAfee show that if he were to get a college coaching job, that's what he would bring to the table. The knowledge of what it takes to play in the league and get you ready to play in the NFL. That's going to be the selling point for players. I think for North Carolina, they're going to be a pretty good program. I think he's still able to coach. And to the ACC, I think you're talking about a North Carolina team that's above 500, probably flirting with 8 or 9 victories. I don't think automatically they become a powerhouse in the conference, but I definitely think that Bill Belichick cleans up maybe a lot of the loose ends. He makes a lot more stuff organized, accountable. You know you're getting a really good game day coach, strategically, not going to beat yourself. And so I think UNC is going to be better, although I still don't think they're a college football playoff contender just because they add in Bill Belichick. At the end of the day, here is the biggest part about this. That today's NFL GMs, today's NFL owners are not entranced by the legacy of a guy like Bill Belichick, who arguably has the best legacy in NFL coaching history. That's not enough. The league is now soaring through that space where Bill was the almighty, and they're going to these young, hotshot, offensive-minded, quarterback-minded coaches. And that all of these owners and all of these GMs would rather take a massive risk with an unknown rather than go down the road with Bill Belichick. And sure, there's a control aspect. I think general managers largely might be scared away by a guy that wants personnel control, that had personnel control over his 2 decades plus in New England. But at the same time, GMs should be desperate to win. They should be desperate to keep their jobs. Owners should be desperate to keep fans in the stands, keep money coming in with luxury suites, corporate sponsorships, and just at the end of the day, winning. But there's just not enough in terms of appetizing potential for Bill freaking Belichick to convince anybody in the league. You can't ever convince me that if Bill thought he was going to get hired this winter, that he would take this job, which means 2 straight years of perhaps the greatest head coach ever being shut out of 6 or 7 potential openings around the NFL. That's potentially 14 or so openings over 2 years, and that Bill would go 0 for the 14. Boy, talk about a humbling experience. If you're Bill Belichick, you can't even get one of those spots, at least not in a place that you want to coach as well. And so instead of coaching and trying to chase the all-time wins record for an NFL head coach, you are chasing and competing for Duke's Mayo Bowls. Hey, remember to subscribe to the channel by clicking on this button below me. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I'm DA, Damon Amendolara. See you next time.